All right, Dr. Kohli, I'll begin with you. In fact, just a few days back, Mr. Nayab Singh Saini, the Chief Minister of Haryana, had made an announcement that he's going to bring Disneyland to Gurugram. Do you think this is the kind of infrastructure, this pathetic state of play, will allow for any kind of an international setup here? Now, this is the excuse with Gurugram every year. There is no sewage system. Just more than 100 millimeter of rain, Dr. Kohli, brings Gurugram to a standstill. It's supposed to be the center of India's corporate world. On the other hand, if you look at Delhi, major improvements have been made. Minto Bridge is not stalling because of, the work by the BJP government. And of course, kudos to Rekha Gupta. If you look at Barapulla and some of the other stretches, I, in fact, drove from my house to the office today. I would usually get stuck in traffic for hours in Delhi, but that has not happened. But Gurugram has got apartments worth 100 crores and in front of which you have a river flowing instead of a road. What is the city thriving on? What about this false, appreciation and inflation of property rates in Gurugram? What do you make of this? And I understand, Dr. Kohli, that you also reside in Gurugram. So no offense there, but this is a serious matter and you left Delhi to go and live in Gurugram.
Well, good evening, Vineet. Good evening to my fellow panelists and NewsX viewers. Well, at the outset, the Disneyland, which has been planned, we saw a trailer of that Disneyland, at least the water park of Disneyland, yesterday. I stay on the Golf Course Road, which is supposed to be, as you rightly said, the most expensive part of the country, not just Gurugram, Delhi, NCR. We've heard of apartments being sold of 190 crores, 150 crores. True or false, but the fact of the matter is some of the projects there, like Camellias, Magnolias, Aralias, I stay in the same cluster. I will not like to name the apartment where I stay, but I stay in the same cluster right on Golf Course. Or incidentally, I was driving back home from a media interaction in Delhi. I was driving back home at the very time when this whole Golf Course Road was flooded. In fact, the SPR incident which you are mentioning, there's a T point where the SPR meets the Golf Course Road. So I know the area very well. I know the condition of SPR, the Southern Peripheral Road, as it is called. It's full of traffic lights and potholes on the roads. By no means, from looking at the road, you can make out that this kind of infrastructure is being developed in that locality. And most of the Fortune 500 companies, they uprooted themselves from Delhi and other places. They moved to Gurugram years ago. They still keep moving, those fancy glass buildings that you see, swanky offices once you enter. But you only enter when you enter. What about approaching that office? And we were wondering why I was standing in front of Camellias. And can you believe the water was, I drive an SUV. So my driver told me that if the water was probably another 6 inches up, it would have been hitting my window. And it's a fairly tall SUV which I drive. So that was the condition. They've made underpasses. DLF, one of the developers, has done the infrastructure. Some part of infrastructure has been under public-private partnership. But the state of the government infrastructure, the government is getting major revenue from Gurugram. We should not forget, Vineet, that most of the Haryana's revenue, Gurugram is the most upmarket, upscale locality of Haryana. We know other towns. There is Hisar, there is Rohtak. There are so many places. There's Karnal. There are other places in Haryana, but nothing can match Gurugram because of its proximity to Delhi. When all these corporates, ages ago, they decided to move their offices and their entire teams into those swanky areas in Cyber City, Cyber Hub, Golf Course Road Extension, the SPR, and so and so. And now, ever after Dwarka Expressway came and the integration of Dwarka Expressway with the SPR and Gurgaon, I think it was supposed to be doing better. But the fact of the matter is that my own prediction of the most expensive area of Gurugram says, forget about the rain. The rain, of course, brought havoc yesterday. What we saw was unbelievable, actually. I was wondering, somebody staying in a 190 crore apartment, poor fellow cannot step out of the house. If he's outside, he cannot go into the house. You would have been waiting outside. I saw the staff of Camellias and Magnolias standing on the gate, waiting to get out because the water was neck deep. Can you imagine? It was neck deep. You would actually
Dr.
have
Kohli,
drowned in that water.
Dr. Kohli, those are Manhattan rates. and you've been to Manhattan, I've lived in Manhattan, that is not the kind of money any apartment building should be demanding for the infrastructure. We really need to understand and put a study and in place as to why are these rates so high.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.